So now we're in the main office with.
Miss Hennon?
All right, and she is one of the secretaries here at the front desk. So, what are we talking about next?
PSATs.
Why are they so important?
Because they help you prepare for the actual SAT. It gets you into college, hopefully. If you do good.
Yeah, and who takes those?
Me, well, I did, but not anymore. I'm a junior now, so I don't take them anymore.
Really?
Well, you take them in the beginning of the year when you're a junior, and then I think you take them as sophomores too.
I think so, yeah. I can't, I remember that I took them, but I don't remember actually taking them. I know I did, but I can't remember when.
Yeah, my experience wasn't too great. But the test scores just came back.
Whoa.
Whoa. So now kids are going to get them and find out what to do with them.
Yes, so I guess we should go.
Check it out.
Hi, I'm Tori Brissell, and I'm here with Miss Thome to talk about the PSATs. Hi, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm good. So when did the test scores come back?
The test scores came back in approximately mid-January. The counselors divided them up by homerooms, and all the tests were distributed in first period classes on Friday, February 6th.
Okay. So what should a kid be looking at when they get their scores?
So there's a number of there's a number of things that students can look at when they receive their score back. Every student who took the PSAT in October received a score report, and it looks like this. And when you open it up, there's a lot of information.
Right.
So the first piece is the information at the top, where it says their actual test scores. It also shows the student how well they compared to other students in the nation. So if this was a junior who was taking the test, their scores are compared with other juniors across the United States. There's also information about their skills, so what areas they did well in the three different areas: critical reading, critical reading, math, and writing. And then the other important piece are the answers to all of the questions, so the student can see which questions they got wrong and which they got right, as well as the difficulty level of those questions. And lastly, on the bottom is a section for next steps, in which there is an access code provided for a student. It's an individual access code for each student, in which they log on to collegeboard.org. And there's a whole bunch of really useful information under the My College Quick Start tab, in which they can go on and get a more detailed score report and get sample questions and get a study plan and that sort of thing. It's really a personalized college and career toolkit for any student who took the PSAT. So that's everything that they can look at.
That sounds really cool. So did the students also receive their booklet with that?
Yeah, students should have received the test booklet as well. That way they can go back and actually review each question so that they're even better prepared. So every student should have received the test booklet.
Okay. So why are the PSATs important?
PSATs are important for a number of reasons. The PSAT is a preliminary to the SAT, and the SAT is part of the admission criteria for most colleges. So how you do on the PSAT is really indicative of how well you'll do on the actual SAT. And of course, the more prepared you are for the SAT, the better. Your PSAT scores can also lead to national merit scholarships, which I can talk about in a little bit. And then the other piece, which people don't always think about, is doing well on the PSAT can provide a confidence boost. So a lot of students have test anxiety or kind of fear of the unknown and what this test is going to be like and how it's formatted and how am I going to do. But if you get your PSAT scores back and you do well, that'll make you much more confident in going to the SAT because you'll be that much more prepared and ready for it, knowing that you did well in the PSAT.
Right. So what can a student learn from taking the PSAT?
There's a few things that students can take away from the PSAT. They can evaluate their skills in three different areas and their strengths and weaknesses within those areas. And as I said, there is a critical reading section, a math section, and a writing section. They can also learn how to better prepare for the SAT, which they'll be taking in their junior and their senior years. And they also can compare how well they'll do in relation to their peers as far as readiness for college level work. So that's also a good thing to take away from the PSAT.
Right. So what do these scores go towards?
So colleges don't use the PSAT as part of their admission criteria, and here at Norristown Area High School, we don't count them towards grades or towards graduation requirements, so that's not a concern. But these scores do count towards the National Merit Scholarship Program, and really the PSAT is ultimately intended to help students evaluate their skills and hone in on their skills, and then essentially and ultimately get better prepared for the SAT.
Right. I know you mentioned the National Merit Scholarship. Could you go into more detail how you get that, what exactly it is?
Sure. So the National Merit Scholarship Program is part of the National Merit Scholarship Corporation, and they use the PSAT scores to qualify students. It's generally 11th grade students, but to qualify students for this scholarship program. If students have high enough scores and they are in fact recognized by this program, students can receive monetary awards and also other type of corporate scholarships down the road as well to help pay for college tuition.
Okay. So I know that the format of the SAT is changing in the spring of 2016. Mm-hmm. So is the PSAT this coming year going to change the format to fit that?
Yes, that's actually a really good question. The upcoming PSAT, so the PSAT in October 2015, will be adjusted to better reflect the updated SAT that we'll be seeing in the spring of 2016.
Okay, that's great. So how should students next year prepare for these tests?
So there's a few ways to prepare. For 10th grade students that took the PSAT this year, they have their score report, they've got their test booklet, and they have their access code from My College Quick Start. So they should absolutely be taking advantage of all of that useful information. It's not something that we want to just kind of put in the locker and forget about. So those students, those 10th grade students should be looking at their skills, working on their weaknesses, taking the personality inventories online, seeing what areas can use improvement, and working on those practice tests and those questions that College Board offers. Additionally, prior to every PSAT, which again is in October, a few weeks before the test, we distribute to all 10th and 11th graders PSAT materials, and within those PSA materials is a full-length practice test. So we absolutely encourage every 10th and 11th grade student prior to the October test to be actually completing that full-length practice test to, again, prepare for the PSAT and see what skills they can work on in preparation for the test in October. And then the other piece is coming to school every day, making sure you're participating in class, and making sure that you're doing everything you need to do to be the best student. All of those things, all of those regular expectations of high school will absolutely help in increasing your PSAT score and ultimately your SAT score.
Okay, so how have you discussed the test results with students so far?
So the test results again came back in mid-January. We distributed the test results in homerooms or first period rooms on Friday, February 6th. And that morning, we had two different presentations. The other counselors and myself presented to the 10th grade class and then also the 11th grade class. We had them in the auditorium. We did a really nice PowerPoint about how to not only analyze your scores, but also how to use those scores. And then we touched a little bit on the college process and signing up for the SATs, and we went over Naviance a little bit, which is a wonderful program that our school provides to students. So those presentations were really informative for students, and then as counselors, we're checking in with our students on a regular basis and inform them about the importance of the PSATs and how they can use the PSATs during those meetings with our students.
That's really great. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I believe that's it.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'm Tori Purcell, and I'm here with Mrs. Thome to talk about the PSATs. I'm checking out my scores. Hope you are too. Now back to the Eagle's Eye.